Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bloody Berardi and Coke. Some absolutely ecstatic faces, as you can probably see this morning. Some are a little bit rougher than others. I understand Gilly probably has only just got in, but yeah, he's not on his laptop. He's forgotten his life, and yeah, we'll get into having a bit of a chat in a minute or two. Hoping to get one or two people on if they want to join in and have their say. Whether you're hungover, still drunk, you're more than welcome to get on and just tell us about yesterday and how much you enjoyed it, I suppose.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Orta Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Good morning, Gilly. So you've had an extra hour in bed and you still look like you've been dug up. How was yesterday?
From what I remember, it was quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
Don't remember much of it.
Do you remember half time? Were you pissed before the game? What's the crack? Was everyone steaming or what?
I remember, I think, most of the game. But there was a Liverpool fan in the pub. And we gave them a bit of stick, and then Lindsay decided to buy loads of shots. So, I don't remember all of it.
Christ on a bike. Well, you'll be pleased to hear that I watched it sober as a judge with my two girls. One of them who is with me now, she's not very well. So if I do have to run off and you have to take control, it's because she's barfing into a bucket. Probably might.
All right. She will be
same
only
reason
one,
for you. Same reason you might disappear, actually. Look, I mean, cheers for joining, Gilly. I know how rough you are. I know we were going to do this late last night, but by the sounds of it, there'd have been absolutely no chance. So,
no chance at all.
So yeah, you've managed to catch up on Match of the Day this morning. What was it? I mean, I'm still sort of ecstatic, and I can't still really believe it. I haven't watched Match of the Day. I haven't watched any highlights or anything since the game, other than the goal. Was it as good as it still feels?
So when you watch a highlights reel, it's the same as watching a footballer that your club's been linked with. When you watch a highlights reel, it's difficult to really get a sense of the full game because you can spin it any way you want. And Match of the Day made it feel like we got battered. Now, watching the game, I think through a pessimist's eye, which we all are as Leeds fans, I think there was that thing of, for me, certainly, it was oh shit, we scored too early. Oh shit, what are they going to do to us now? There were a lot of that. And but by the same rationale, I think we played really well. And Alisson made two massive saves in the first half. I mean, the one from Jack Harrison, I know he's got it on his right foot, but you're looking for him to do better. So the game felt like it was in the balance throughout, even through a pessimist's eye, which is definitely me. Because I did look at it and think, oh shit, 4 minutes in and we've scored. What have we done that for? And especially, I think, was it 11 minutes they scored on? And you think,
14, I think.
Fucking hell. It wasn't far enough in for it to be it's all right, we'll get a draw. So I went 3-1 in the predictions thinking I were being positive. And at 1-1, you're thinking, oh shit, this could be a cricket score. But it didn't feel that way to me. It didn't feel like we'd gone there and just got absolutely battered and poxed a win. It didn't feel like it was fully lucky, but on Match of the Day, it made it seem that way.
Yeah, if I were to tell you that they had 69% possession and 14 corners, would it change your view?
So the possession thing, I think, plays into Jesse's hands. He doesn't want us having the ball. He wants the opposition to have the ball and for us to be able to press them in dangerous areas of the pitch, for us to win the ball back high up the pitch and then take advantage of it. I don't think he's looking. We outran, outfought, outbattled, outplayed, and outran.
And outrun again.
we did under Bielsa. We always outran the opposition. We always did. That was what we did. We just, it was an athletic thing of, we're gonna outperform you. We're gonna outrun you. Under Marsh, he don't want the ball. He wants the opposition to have the ball, but to have the ball in a place that.
In their final third, doesn't he? Yeah, and then look, it worked twice yesterday. And look, do you think Jesse Marsh changed his style slightly yesterday? In that, I don't mean we played more defensively, but we expected the pressure. Like, so when we're playing teams that are around us, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Fulham last week, and so on and so forth, we almost go for the jugular. We go to win those games, and it comes back and bites us on the arse. We run out of steam. We get beaten on the counter quite too easily, and we're losing these games, winnable games that arguably on paper. But do you think against the better side, shall we say, the more established Premier League sides, the higher sides, the top 6 challengers, top 4 even, that we play slightly, we tweak things slightly, ever so slightly, that actually we expect that bit of pressure, so we don't actually press as hard and as much in their half, and it seems to be. But when we've got the ball, we still do the same things. Did you notice that? I mean, it might just be me. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think there's that bit of. If you look at the Fulham game, when we were pressing, we weren't pressing as a unit, and I think that's what hurt us. And then during the game last night, you could see that actually we stood off, and then there was a trigger movement that made us go press them, but we pressed them together. It wasn't one or two players going and trying to do that pressing. It was as a unit, but it was further forward for them. So I think there is. I think you're right. Whether that is a case of again sides that are going to try and play against us, we do it differently, or whether that is a case of him just tweaking overall. So we might see that against. I mean, whether we see that against Bournemouth or not, I'm not sure. We're going to have to take the game to them, really. But I suspect we will see it against Spurs, is that we'll let their centre-backs have the ball. And it's only when it goes out to the full-backs that we'll press. So I think you're right on that there's been a tweak. Whether that will be against everybody or whether that will be against the sides that want to come and play football, that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, fair point. Look, we've got somebody waiting in the wings. Let's see what Bielsa John's got to say. John K, you may well know him as Bielsa John.
John was out with us last night. I'll just mention before we bring him in.
John, if you're ready, we're going to bring you in. You need to unmute and put your camera back on, mate, and we'll bring you in whenever you're ready. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's even watching or listening or whatever, but he's muted and his camera's off, so we won't bring him in just yet. He's just gone shy on us. But yeah, look,
joining us.
I'm not sure who's joining, mate. I've sent it out. Anybody's more than welcome to join.
Liam's said she was steaming.
Yeah, Liam's just put, here we go, John's ready. I'll just touch on this point and we'll bring you in, John. We outran them by 11 kilometres. Now, that's 6.5 miles, and that is a lot to outrun a team in 90 minutes. And I think, I forget who I was listening to after the game. They're doing a bit of analysis, and they said, look, Liverpool never used to get outrun when they were good last season, the season before, when they were playing really, really good football. They were never outrun on the field. And I think that's testament to how we play, but also how potentially how they're not playing this season. I read some of their fans' tweets and that after the game, and they were like, "This is the fickle football fan." Calling for players to be out and their owners to be out and managers and all sorts of shit. So
they've been on about FSG out for a long time, haven't they? They have. If you read Liverpool fans online, they all want them out. But as I was pointing out to a Liverpool fan yesterday, I think it's £810 million they've spent under Klopp. They are spending the cash. And I think even, Liverpool fans will bang on about net spend and what have you, but even if you take out the amounts that they're bringing in, and even with the Coutinho money, I think they're still averaging about £40 million a season under him. But they bang on about net spend. I think it was 127, 130, something like that they got for Coutinho. So you take out the outliers, they're averaging over £40 million a season net spend, and that's massive. That's huge. So for them to bang on, it's like the Scum fans banging on about their owners. They're spending the cash.
Yeah. But when they lose, they don't want to lose to a Leeds or a lower. They got beat by Forest last week as well. Do you know what I mean?
There's two sides in bottom three.
Do you know? Right, let's get Bielsa John in. John, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate.
Yeah, how you feeling on a scale of 1 being Jesus flip flops and 10 being Rita Ora on a good day? Where are you on that list?
7.
Are you feeling
7?
good? You feeling good?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not bad.
I wish I could say you looked it, mate, but
because he wanted the shots with us. That's why.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, mate.
I had that many last round, didn't I?
Just a bit, yeah.
How was last night? Ecstasy? Did you enjoy it? I mean, I'm hoping you didn't take any ecstasy. I mean, the feeling, but did you? I mean, there's nothing better than a last-minute winner, is there? And especially away at Anfield. So, I mean, what did you make of it? The performance as a whole?
I thought we were a lot better than what we played last week, and if I'm honest, I was half expecting a win.
We really?
Yeah.
What? I mean, I'm perplexed here because they haven't lost at home since March last year. Until then, they're a much better side than us, footballing side. They've got better players, man for man. What gave you that? What gave you that inkling? That bit? I mean, I know you commented on the CBD thing, so you obviously predicted a win before the game. You said 3-2, I think, if you remember rightly. But what gave you that little bit of what had you seen in the previous performances that actually gave you that little bit of encouragement?
I've not seen no in previous performance. It was just going to Liverpool Saturday night under lights on Sky. I just had a feeling we were going to nick something, and I mentioned it before the game whilst we were out that I thought we'd nick it, and we did.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And who obviously you mentioned there, you haven't seen anything in previous performances. There wasn't a lot of positives to take from Leicester, from Fulham. There was probably more from Fulham, but not from Leicester. Or who else did we play before that when we were shite?
No, we played Arsenal, didn't we, week before, and we actually gave them a game.
Yeah, there was somebody after Leicester. I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, there wasn't a lot of encouragement to take out of it. Any of those games really leading up, even all the way from Palace, apart from Arsenal. So, do you think we're set up? Somebody mentioned here, John, our style suit proper football. We need to find a way to play against the anti-football sides. Do you think there's something to be said there?
I think they're right. We showed it against Chelsea and last night against Liverpool. And we showed it against Arsenal that them that want to play football, we can deal with. It's the time wasters that we can't. Wolves, Villa, they've been absolutely horrific. Everton with the same. And
Everton, yeah.
And we need to do something about it. We just need a plan B for when that happens because we just look lost as a team.
It's really frustrating, isn't it? Because these 3 points that we're picking up against Chelsea and against Liverpool arguably aren't our battles, because if we would have beaten Fulham, that's a 6-point game, really. Do you know what I mean? If we'd have beaten, Everton, arguably, and Wolves, and I mean we did beat Wolves, but other sides that are around us, they're almost 6-pointers if we get beat or if we win, and it's really frustrating that we seem to be more. And I said this on last week's BNC, I think, that we seem to be more motivated around playing the bigger sides. Now, is that something Marsh is doing wrong? Is he motivating wrongly, do you think, John? Why do we seem to turn it on against the better sides? Is it because of the styles of football?
I think it comes down to style of play, I really do. But I think if we give Bournemouth centre-backs ball next week, we'll struggle, because having watched Match of the Day, they've given Spurs a game yesterday. They've given them a real game.
They went 2 up against Spurs yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, 2 up, and then they were unlucky. They hit bar a couple of times. So they were unlucky to get beat, really. Yeah. But if we give their centre-backs ball, all we'll do is just ping it out straight to wingers, and we're under pressure straight away.
But we were yesterday.
The thing on that, though...
Go on,
sorry, just the thing on that is that tends to be our game plan. It looks as though we are giving the centre backs the ball as much as they want, and we're only winning it. We're only pressing. We're only going after the ball once it comes away from them. So there's a clash of styles really there. In as much as I don't feel like we will press the centre backs. We'll allow the centre backs to have the space and the freedom. What we need to be aware of, if you remember when we played against the Scum and a couple of others, Everton were another one. They'd just waltz through our midfield when the centre backs had the ball. So we need to be aware of that. But I don't think we'll see a press of a centre back unless the centre back's trying to carry it out.
And what you call it did that well against us, Matip, actually, against us last season. Do you remember? He did that really well against us and almost countered our style by being a ball playing centre back and coming into the midfield. So yeah, look, I think you're quite right. I think there's a lot to be said for our style and how it counters a particular style of football, a side that wants to play football. I think the anti-football and the delay of the game and controlling the tempo of the game really, really hurts us. We want to play fast-paced, with high energy, and when teams take the sting out of it, I think that's probably where we struggle.
I think there's a thing to be said about how direct we are as well. As soon as we win the ball, we want it up front, we want it forward, we want to be attacking, and we want to get a shot away. That tends to be what I see as Jesse's approach is. He wants to be really direct, as direct as possible. And that means not having the ball for long stretches. Now, that's a big change for us as fans, to be able to see that after we saw Bielsa dominating possession against everyone. I think, in his time, there were only a handful of sides, a handful of games in which we didn't fully dominate possession. So that's we heard about similarities between Jesse's approach and Bielsa's approach, which we're not really seeing. All it is energetic teams. That's the similarity. Everything else is different. So I don't think that I don't think it's an issue really that we're not dominating possession. You said about, was it 69% they had?
69 to 31, yeah.
So I don't think he'll look at that and think that's an issue that he needs to rectify. What we need to do, as you've rightly said, is we need to come up with a way of countering those teams that don't want the ball in the way that we don't. Because when a team has the ball, we can press them. And when we've got the ball, we seem to run out of ideas really quite quickly.
Yeah, fair. Right, then quickly, John, before we let you shoot off, mate, and go do what you've got to do on a Sunday. Right. Who was your, other than obviously Meslier, because I think Meslier is hands down won the man of the match by everybody. Which outfield player impressed you most yesterday?
Aronson.
Yeah, I thought he had a cracking
last night were phenomenal last night.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and he gets fouled a lot more than he gets given free kicks for as well.
That bust up yesterday, wasn't there, when Tyler went steaming in?
Yeah, with was it Robertson?
Yeah, Robertson. Yeah.
Horrible looking bastard he is, isn't he? Aronson, I think both the American lads were fantastic yesterday. Yeah. Adams and Aronson. I don't think you could take it away from either of them. Lots to look forward to them. Just before then, one last question. What were you last week? Were you Jesse in or Jesse out, John? After the Fulham game?
And I still am.
And you're still Jesse out? You still think he's not the right man, even after that performance yesterday?
No.
Why is that then?
I don't know. There's just next 3 games are vital. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And look, we've had opportunities, and you look at. I mean, one result doesn't. One freak result. I mean, I don't want to call it a freak result, but one result doesn't necessarily make the team. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to still take into consideration that we've not been beating the other teams in the 8 before that, and the level of opposition we've been playing. So no, I completely agree. Completely respect your judgment and your opinion on that. But I just think we've got players that are clearly still willing to play for him, and I think that is vital in any side. Once you lose the players, I thought he'd lost the players. I'll be honest. After Leicester, I thought because they were just so shit that I thought he'd lost the dressing room. That performance yesterday has given me a glimmer of hope, and I almost feel like he's got an opportunity now to turn it around. He's bought himself a little bit more time.
Well, he's got 3
shall we say.
games before World Cup now. So,
How many of them do you expect to win, John?
Only 2. Oh, is there a cup game? Yeah, there's a cup game.
We've got Wolves away, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I'm expecting 2 wins and a draw.
2 wins and a draw from Spurs away.
Draw against
Wolves
Spurs, is it?
Away.
Yeah. Win Wolves, beat Leicester, beat Bournemouth, and draw Spurs. But if we lose against Bournemouth, it'll turn.
Pressure's back on, isn't it?
It is, yeah. This league is very, very tight this year.
Would you have taken 3 points out of the next 2? So, the last in Liverpool and Bournemouth, regardless of which way around?
No, I'd have wanted more. I'd have wanted 4 points from that.
Right. So if we get a point at Bournemouth, would you be happy now? Since we picked 3 up, surely the win away at Anfield has got. I mean, I want us to beat Bournemouth. Don't get me wrong. We should be beating a team like Bournemouth.
We need to be beating like Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean that's an opportunity. That's our only opportunity, shall we say, now before the break, realistically, for us to pick up 3 points. A team around us, but that almost says to me that we won't, and we'll probably go and beat Spurs in London. So yeah, look. Thanks for
just on that then. So before last night, before the win, if you had been asked, will Jesse keep his job if he gets 6 points against Liverpool and Bournemouth, would you have said yes?
Yeah.
And for you, but even if we beat Bournemouth, he's still not the right man. Is that where you're at?
I'm not saying he's not the right man. I just don't think there's just something not right about the team. And I just can't put my finger on it. But
we're not scoring enough, are we? No. You look at Bamford's chance yesterday. That just simply comes down to confidence. Usually, he would have banged that first time. He'd have banged it, or his touch would have been better.
But equally, Harrison and Aronson are both. Before this round of fixtures, they're both in the top 10 of chance creation. That's not down to the gaffer. No. If his side are creating more chances than any other team, why aren't we scoring more chances than any other team? And can you put that all down to the manager? I mean, yes, he's got to put the players in a position where they're confident and they're playing freely and whatever else, but he can't make them score the goals. If the side are creating chances and doing so regularly, which they have to be for Harrison and Aronson to both be, I think it were 23 for Aronson and 22 for Harrison was the stat that I saw that put them in the top 10. If they're creating the chances, surely he's doing his job.
But we've got players that are not getting played who could have put some of these chances away, like Gilly. He's only getting minimum minutes. He didn't even get on pitch last night. Why is he not being given a decent shot?
Arguably, though, he didn't come on the pitch last night where Kononto did and arguably made a difference as well. So, look, I completely agree that there is options there that potentially we could be looking at. But I don't think that's enough for me to say that he's not the right man for the job just because we're not. If we're creating enough chances, it's almost like we're missing that little piece of a jigsaw, isn't it? You've finished it. There's a tiny little bit missing, and for me, it's been clinical. The teams around us that have played us, Fulham had 3 chances last week and scored all 3. Arsenal had 2 chances against us. Do you know what I mean? That's the difference between us and a established mid-table or higher Premiership side. I sent a graphic round last week, and I think we're bottom of the league for expected goals to actual goals. Where I think we're 6 or 7 goals behind where we should be, and if we'd have scored those 7 goals, the league table looks completely different.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, cool. Anyway, John, thanks ever so much as ever, mate. We'll see you in the pub on another day. You enjoy your Sunday, mate. Take it easy.
I'll try. Cheers, guys.
See you in a bit.
Right. What do you make of that then, Gilly? Do you agree with John in terms of Jesse, or do you feel a little bit differently?
I think the issue that we've got is who do you bring in? Mm-hmm. So even if you don't think he's the right person, you've got to come up. That's a problem, not a solution. And the solution is who do we bring in? Who's available? And we went through a list of names of people that were available on the pod, on the main pod, and it was you're looking at the list and thinking, fucking hell, we can't afford to let him go. I think we're in a position, things might be different. If you're going to make a change, the World Cup presents a mid-season change that a possibility, opportunity maybe that we've not had before. We've never had that planned break for such a long time during the season. So it feels like a really natural point at which we're going to make a change. I certainly don't think we will. I really don't think Rad's not going to pay out. He's not going to pay Jesse to go and then buy somebody else out of their contract. So you look at the list of names available. I don't want any of them. I think Villa have done really well.
They got hammered yesterday.
But he's not taken over yet, though, has he?
Oh, hasn't he?
I think he starts on Tuesday. So I think he's going to steer them quite well because I think he's a good boss. But you've got to look at who's available and who you can bring in. Now we're not going to go out and get an established name because that's not really what I see Rad's doing. So you look at your list of your Pulises and your Big Sams and you're thinking, can't have, you Daesh, can't have any of that. I don't want any of that. So although it's not pretty a lot of the time, if it can make the gameplay effective against the lower sides, which is what we're lacking at the moment, and get that, I think he was quite open about wanting more players before the club hierarchy got involved, and he retracted his statement and said, "No, I'm happy with what I've got," and that would have been yes money, but I think he really wanted a class forward. And if we'd have got a class forward, you expect that we would have had the key to unlock those defences. And Bamford coming back from injury and Rodrigo, he's got 6 this season. He's doing pretty well in terms of scoring, but he's caused us some issues. That pass against Arsenal and a couple of others. But I think if we had somebody that was a class forward, then those games feel really different. And I think that he did want that, and that would have made a real difference to our season so far. So if we are in a position where we've got an addition up front, that's somebody that can come in, you mentioned Nonto. He's not a striker. He did well last night, but he's not a striker. And I don't think he's come in to bag loads of goals. He's a creative player. We need somebody that's going to find the onion bag a lot.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that I think we are, a clinical centre forward away from being a mid-table side this season. We're not playing. I mean, bar I would say 3 games this season where we have been shit. We have been really poor, and I think probably 2 of them being Fulham and Leicester most recently. Before that, probably Brentford, even though we still look potentially in the game, bar a couple of mistakes. We've not been that bad. We've looked all right in parts and we've looked quite good in other parts. So, and just going back to what you said about the chance creation as well, there's a lot to be said for that, and the XG and everything like that. And I'm not a big fan of all these figures because a game's not played on paper and spreadsheets. But if we had a clinical striker that's taken even half of those chances and we've scored another 3 or 4 goals this season, we've lost the majority of games by 1 goal this season, other than Brentford. The games we've lost have been by 1 or 2 goals. So that's a huge swing in momentum there. I'm hoping that this result and this performance is going to swing the momentum completely, and we're going to get a bit of a reaction. Fingers crossed. What I don't want to do is then take a backward step against Bournemouth and go back to a Leicester or a Fulham type performance, because we can't afford to do that. That's me. But let's focus on players then. Just to give you a quick rundown of the average scores. This is through the BBC website. The Liverpool players, their highest performer got a 4.76 last night. I think that's pretty harsh because I don't think Liverpool were that bad. I think we just made them look pretty poor. Didn't give them enough time on the ball. We we swarmed them. We made it really uncomfortable for Salah and Thiago and all their key players. We made it an uncomfortable night. So 4.76. Robertson was their highest performer. They had players as low as 3.18. Curtis Jones when he came on. Henderson 3.28 with that great shot towards the end as well. Joe Gomez,
he is, by the way.
Yeah, Joe Gomez had a nightmare at 3.48, and then everything in between, really. In contrast, then we had Meslier man of the match on 8.69, and every other Leeds player apart from Bamford scored well above 7. Cooper 7.38 being the next lowest. Who was your outfield man of the match? Would you agree with John, or did you have somebody else in mind?
No, I think it was Aronson. It was so effective on the ball. It was, you were doing step overs, but there were step overs that were effective. It wasn't sure. I don't know if you saw, is it Anthony, the scummer that
he did that circle and then passed the ball through.
But he just played it straight out of play.
Yeah,
completely ineffective, showboating, and then ruining it. Whereas last night, what we saw from Aronson was when he was doing the tricks. He did a step over that brought him inside, and then he played it through for Rodrigo to run in on goal. Now, with a slightly better touch, his touch took him a bit wide. It wasn't as bad as Bamford's touch that took him really wide, but it took him a bit wide. He got his shot away. We didn't score from it, but it wasn't as dangerous as it could have been. But for me, Aronson really looks dangerous every time he gets the ball, and he's so effective at bringing people into play and playing people through. I like him on the right. I know that he's an effective player in the middle, and when we've got Sinisterra on the pitch, he tends to be on the right hand side. But he comes in so much. I'd quite like to see him in the 10 and Aronson wide, because I think he's so effective for us out there. He doesn't maybe get as involved in play when he's on the right, but when he does, he's really effective.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think, to be honest, my man of the match was Adams. Of outfield players, other than Meslier. Meslier was incredible last night, and I know he's had his critics. And one of the goals of Fulham from the Mitrovic's header.
The first
he
one.
did it. He did his best Peacock Farrell impression with his poppadom wrist, trying to keep it out. But he's had his critics, and look, last night he looks nothing less than a French number one goalkeeper, and I think he was absolutely incredible. Some of the saves, one from Darwin Núñez when it was 1-on-1. He made some real important
that one where he put it over from the shot from outside the box as well. I mean, that's match at day. They said you expect him to make that save, but the thing is, there are quite a few saves that we expected him to make this season that he's not. So you've got to give him credit for that. I think you're absolutely right, though. I mean, just behind Aronson for me was Adams, and you can see the influence he has in the side already. Him and Rocker, the partnership that they're building, it's immense. They really complement each other really well. But you look at the way that we set out in matches without him. Fulham, he didn't play. It was a completely different side with Adams.
Yeah, I think the thing that concerns me is with those two, we haven't got a backup who can do it both either, really. We've got somebody who can do a bit of both in Click and in Marsh's head Greenwood. I don't see it, but Marsh thinks
I don't
either. But we've not got anybody. Those two do completely different jobs. Completely different. Same position, completely different jobs. We've not got any specialist who can come in and do either of their jobs. However, while they're fit, we've got not got a lot to worry about. But then you take into account Fulham. Great point. Is Adams better than Calvin in this team? At least I would say because of the way we set up. Calvin was one of those who can do both and was expected to do both in a single man pivot. With this 2-man, we've got Rocker sitting and we've got Adams, who's literally just an horrible little. He's the type of player you'd hate to play against because he just gets everywhere, But that's the reason I would have given him outfield man of the match. I just thought he broke up play really well. He got stuck in, he annoyed him, he got under the skin, he put himself about a bit, and it's everything I love in a player. With obviously my favourite player ever being Batty.
I was just about to make that point. If you remember the times when we were playing, we were in a different lineup and a different formation. But you look at the times that we were really good, and you think of Batty and Dakar, and the way that Batty, he had a pass in him, but that wasn't his job. That's not what he excelled at. That's not what he did. He stifled opposition and he won the ball, and that's what Adams does. And if you look at Dakar, he had a bit of a nasty streak in him, and we loved him for it. But he was a ball player, and that's Rocker. So I think you're right to mention Batty. Are they at Batty's level? I mean, he's one of my favourite players of all time. So they've got some work to do to be able to say that they're at that level. But there's echoes of it, the shadows of it, and I think that the pair of them complement each other so well, and they're both really important to us. And I think it's a good point that you make, is that we need them both available.
Sorry, mate, I muted you by accident then. I completely agree. It's imperative that we keep those two fit, and against Fulham showed that. It's a good position. It's a nice position to be in after a game that that you've stolen at the. Would you say we stole it, or do you think we deserved it on the balance of play? I think we probably deserved it. For me,
I think if you look, I mean, there's a reason that Meslier were man of the match. They did have chances, but I don't think that if you come away with a draw from Anfield, you're not disappointed. Before the game, after the game, whatever. If they'd managed to be able to get a draw, you look at the timings of the goals. Like I said, we scored, and I'm thinking, oh God, it's too early. Why have we done that? And then they score not very long after, and you're thinking, shit, this could be a cricket score. So coming away from it, you're thinking, your 3 points is amazing, but if you come away with the point, that's still amazing. So for me, I think the balance of play, from what I remember and seeing the highlights this morning, I think we were worth a result. If you come away from it with a draw, if Alisson gets a stronger hand to the Somerville goal and he just puts it wide of the post, you're thinking, oh, what could have been? But you come away really happy with the draw.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've got to go back almost 18 months since the last time they were beaten at Anfield. I mean, that's unbelievable.
And one stat that was pointed out this morning is Van Dijk's never lost at Anfield until we rocked up.
Is that in the Premier League or full start of Champions League? Everything?
I don't think he's ever lost a game there.
I love it. And do you know why? Because I fucking hate the Scousers at the minute. I didn't used to mind them that much, honestly. Until we came up to the Premier League, I didn't really mind them that much. And we had that mutual hate for Scum, and I didn't actually mind them. And then we've got to the Premier League and their fans all over, and Klopp is, why hasn't he served a touchline ban? Why has he got away with it? What makes him special? They're just insufferable. I just can't deal with them anymore. They just annoy me. Not to the level of Scum, I don't think, but they're not far off in terms of their fan base. I think I would probably say certainly, but their manager, fucking hell.
So I put them level with Chelsea. So Scum are the most hated side in the country for me, and then it's Chelsea and Liverpool joint just behind them.
And Millwall,
they can all, as well. Yeah, but they can all get in bin.
Yeah. Right then, we go on to next week. You can't really change much from that team, providing everyone's fit. Does Sinistera come back in for Jimmy? I don't think so. Do
you? We've spoken to Jimmy. I think that number that he's got on his shirt is a big deal.
Before the game. Even I cannot believe Jimmy's playing.
Yeah, because he worried me, not from his attacking capabilities, but from his defensive. And it was that really worried me. Is I thought that they were going to be able to get at us because he doesn't put the work in, but he didn't have to put a shift in.
He did
defensively as well as offensively. He played well. For me, that was why I was worried. Is that are we going to be more exposed? But you look at Sinistera and he doesn't do much of that either. So is that why it didn't really hurt us? I think if you lose Jack Harrison out of the side or Aronson out of the side, and the amount of work that they put in, that impacts us more. So it was that, not his capability. I don't think you can, having scored the winner in such a dramatic fashion, you can't drop him, and you don't drop anybody else. You don't drop Jack Harrison or Arrington out of the side.
And look, Sinisterra is a great option to come on as an attacking threat as well. But I mean, ideally, if he'd not been injured, he probably would have started yesterday because he is our biggest attacking threat. No arguments, you know. But based on performances last night and the way they played and him getting the goal, I cannot see how you can change anything. And then you've got Willie Nonto to throw in the mix as well. The work he put in to get that second goal has gone relatively unnoticed, but he was absolutely so important to that second goal that we nicked.
It was a clever ball as well, wasn't it?
It was.
A lot of wingers would just shift it to the left and just play it in. And he didn't, it wasn't just a wild swing and get it into a dangerous area. He picked out his man, and it was, it was on the floor, and it was such an intelligent ball. So yeah, no, you're right. I think that deserves a call as well. So yeah.
And luckily, Bamford miscontrolled it, which put it into Jimmy's feet. So hey, every cloud in that.
He gets an assist for that though.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Smarty, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Hanging out my ass. Hey, at least it's your own this time. Rodrigo may be injured, so Cine would play instead. Would he? Would Cine play instead? I don't think so. I think Bamford would probably play instead.
Yeah, but if Bamford starts up front, if Rodrigo's injured, then you're looking at Aronson in the middle and Sinisterra on the right.
But then you're taking either Jimmy or Harrison out.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. Yeah, but I think that he's the only one that you drop out, though, isn't he? I wouldn't. I'm not saying that I would, but you don't drop any of the others out of the side.
No. I think you're right. I think the only player or only position that we were lacking last night is a clinical striker, and I mean, give Rodrigo his due. He was alert to nick that first one.
And he wasn't closest to the ball. If you look at the replay, he was third away from the ball, but he made, he was the one that reacted.
Yeah, no, he took it well. Liam Harrison to be dropped. Ooh, I don't know about that. Look, I think I'm one of Harrison's biggest critics because I think we've got a real good player in there. I think he works really hard. What I don't like about Harrison is the way he looks down at the ball all the time, and he's so predictable. And I think, but I just can't see how you can drop him based on his work rate, his performance last night. I just don't see it. And for who? For Cine, I'm guessing, but again, I don't know.
You don't play Somerville over Jackie. You really don't. And if you look at the games that we've won this season, it's where he's been effective.
Yeah, right. We're going to fly through a few more of these questions, and then we'll let everybody go and get their Sunday dinners and everything from the start. Then, got to say, after a result like that, and if Gilly was as drunk as I've heard, fair play for getting a laptop. Well done, mate. Gilly is ace. Ramskill is on a bender. Cristiano's
on my drinking.
Ramskill's on a bender. Almost on time. Hey, that makes a change, Charlie. But maybe Gilly should get drunk more often. Had a dream we won 2-1. Gilly looks like he's just got off the Jaeger train.
Accurate.
Looks like he hasn't been to bed. Hey, all these comments are about you, Gilly. Good day up. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is over there in Australia. Leeds, we were at the better. Leeds, we at times were the better team. Yeah, completely agree. We didn't get battered, and Liverpool were always going to create theirs. We rode the pressure well and hung in there as the non-favourite team should always do. Yeah, I think that sums it up really, really well. But that's where we need to improve is on the flip of that, where we're a better side. We need to be taking our chances and being playing. The thing for me, Gilly, is motivation. We seem far more up for these types of games and from the off as well for me. And just going back to Leicester away, I know it was a midweek game, wasn't it? I think if I remember rightly, cold. East Midlands, not a nice place to go. I just think there's that little bit of motivation, and there's been talk this week that they've upped their interest in sports psychologists coming in. I think. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know what do you make of that?
Well, I wonder how much of it is pressure. You know, going into the Chelsea game, not many of us gave us a realistic opportunity of winning. Going, Liverpool, we had Jay gave a 5-4, and every single other person that predicted in our prediction league it went for Liverpool, all of us. So there's plenty of minus points going around. But do you know what? I'll take it. I said before the game, if we get out of it, I'll take the hit. I wonder how much of it is pressure. We're not expected to beat those sides. We are expected to beat Leicester when they're bottom of the league when we play them. Fulham, we're going into those games as favourites. And Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, we're not going into those games as favourites, and yet we're playing better. So I wonder how much of it is pressure as well. It's the expectation.
Fair comment. And do you think this psychologist thing will work then?
I think if you look at elite sports as a whole, there's a huge amount of psychology in it. You look at a player that makes a mistake in a game. The more they dwell on that, the worse it's going to get. Being able to put mistakes out of your mind and just concentrate on what's coming, that's really important to a sports person. I think the more... So it's not going to happen overnight. You don't change your psychology. You don't change your view and your approach overnight. But I think it's a good thing for anybody to be able to deal with pressure, deal with expectation, deal with a mistake that they make in the game, put it out of the mind and concentrate on what's at hand. I don't see it as a negative at all.
Yeah, good stuff. First and last time you're ever going to hear me say this, Jay, but I respect your decision to go for a Leeds win yesterday, and you were right. You were right. Well done. Morning. Feeling it a bit today, Gilly. This is a great point from Daniel Wright. Our first two subs were both strikers away at Anfield. We went for it. Yeah, we saw an opportunity to actually take the game and fucking went for it. I love that. I love it. Adapting slightly, that's the only good thing. So he's on about Marsh here, I think. He realises he's adapting slightly. That's only a good thing. Yeah, I think that's one thing that Marsh has got that potentially Bielsa didn't have, is that he's not afraid to change things up and go for something different. It doesn't always work, as we've seen, but yesterday it did. So can we have a word about Smarty? Said on Twitter he wasn't going to watch it and was going to a Halloween party. In the words of Julia Roberts, big mistake. Yeah, Smart is the wanker of the week. Our styles, we've talked through those. Somebody on Joe's football show won 1.5k from.
Wow!
Nice. Other podcasts and YouTube videos are available. But Joe's a great lad. I was on there this week actually saying how I was Jesse in up until the last two games, then Jesse out. I might go back on this week and say, I don't know. We'll see. Right, we're going to skip through a few. We've spoken about most of this. Harry, it's a good day. Morning, Derek. Thanks for joining us. Cloud9, great stuff. Bamford should probably speak to one. I think you're right. I think the psychologist. I think Bamford is lacking confidence because look at that performance against Villa the other year when he scored. Did he score 4? We know he's got it in him.
Right.
He got a hat-trick,
I think we might have scored 4 as a team, but he got 3.
And we know he's got it in him. That touch yesterday is the touch of I'm not going to say it live, or somebody who's not confident, somebody who's lacking confidence.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, he had 2 opportunities. He could have come across it and hit it with his left and probably bagged in the top corner, or he could have hit it with his right and gone either side, really. But he tried taking a touch with his favoured foot, and it just rolled over. It just looked absolutely shocking. So yeah, look, we're in a good position. It's a nice feeling to have on a Sunday morning to see Leeds have won. Not only Leeds have won, but we've won away at Anfield. Yeah, I'm buzzing. I mean, if you were to sum it up in one sentence, Gilly, how did it make you feel, and how do you feel today? Apart from rough as fuck.
Well, yeah, I feel like shit. Keep dying, but reflected on it, yeah, I mean, absolutely buzzing. It really, really, none of us expected it, and it's that unexpected bit that is, wow. You can't. It's really difficult to verbalise it, to try and put across how that makes you feel. I mean, that's why we're in it, isn't it? That's why we do it. That's why we follow them for that sort of feeling.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And I'm absolutely gutted. I had my operation and gave my ticket up. I was meant to be going yesterday. I was telling everybody, thank fuck I'm not going. At least I'm not going to go see them. At least I'm not going to see the Premier League record for the most goals conceded and all this. And it was just like, fuck me. Now I'm absolutely cringing, but hey, it is what it is. The Balding Yorkie Palmer summed it up himself. I think of all the arseholes I've met who support Liverpool and took the piss, it's a good day to be a Leeds fan. I think that sums it up great. And on that note, thanks everybody for joining us. We will be back Tuesday night as ever. Go and enjoy your Sundays with your families, with your friends, whatever it is you want to do. We're in a great position. We're all a little bit happier today. Let's enjoy the rest of our weekends. Thank you ever so much.